I have to say, Blitz, I was getting chills hearing the chants come out from the LGD fans, giving me a little bit of reminiscing to TI.
Yeah, shout out to our ops team too, Caro and JJ.
Done an excellent job for us. People were asking about the battle pass. Is it muted? No. So you could see LGD and VP having their funs with it. We're going to have the bounty rune spawning out. Looks like Lion's going to try and slip into the back line here and try and take it away from the Drow Ranger. It gives up on that. So we're going to have 2 for 2 once again. What are the big problems for that VP have to overcome? How are they going to be able to make this go to a game 3?
I think usually when drafts work out, like 2 good teams, they're stronger at one phase of the game, right? That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
And both teams, like last game, for example, I thought that VP was not favored to win late, but I thought they were favored to win the early and mid game. So, and you have to abuse those timings. And I think we're in almost the exact same situation, where I think if the game goes ultra late, LGD, PSG.LGD, like have much more ways to just like win.
Yeah.
They push towers fast, they take objectives quickly, their team fight's easier to execute. I think Dro is fundamentally just a really good hero right now. Most of this tournaments come down to like, do you have a Dro solution?
Yeah.
And so I think in that regard, like, I prefer PSG.LGD's draft. The way that VP can win, and we should always talk about this, is like the way that a team can win is you just all in assault in the early mid game. Run at them, take early fights, push down towers where you can with your Enigma, get him an early Helm of the Dom, let Roger do his own thing, get a fast Helm of the Dom, like power level him up essentially so that he can get tower hitters.
They've got really snowball heroes here, but Solo is going to come in from behind here. No one activates his Flame Guard. Also going to pop the Flame Guard as well. He does have a Sleight of Fist to be able to finish off maybe if he could just get that last shot in, and it is good enough to secure first blood.
Yeah, this is exactly what you need as a start. Be aggressive on the map at all times. Don't give PSG.LGD's lineup time to breathe. That's how you beat it, because the amount of movement that they can make is sort of limited to this Storm Spirit. Like, the Storm Spirit has to connect to other lanes, so if you slow down his game, you can be successful. If you 5-man up early enough and just take like this guerrilla warfare style, like we'll take fights non-stop, I think you'll also be successful with your lineup. But when it comes to like the ultra late / the later stages of the game, like if you give PSG.LGD an Aegis on the Storm, then I think the game becomes very hard.
And a large part of that has got to be down to this, one of the last picks here from LGD. They went for the Necrophos, which is definitely a greedier option when you already have the Storm and Drow Ranger. But VP, even though they're like the 1-to-1, there is a counter there where you don't feel good about playing the Ursa against this Necrophos. You're just talking about the pace of the game. You don't necessarily need the hero counters so much because so many of those were banned away. We have the Naga Siren ban, we have the Spectre ban. It's not a good sniper game. Like, those are the 3 cores that we saw matched up against Drow Ranger, Matt. But there is a way just to be able to take the pace of the game against this lineup.
Yeah, and I think this is always really important to think about is it's not always does this hero counter everything, but it's also does this hero sort of fit stylistically in what we want to accomplish.
Yeah.
Because they needed a Roche hitter, I think, to take away from the Storm's potential from being able to do it at all times. That's what I think they lacked a little bit. Like, their Roche taking ability, aside from dropping Shaman Wards, was kind of lackluster.
Bane is definitely one of the early fighters, but there is a lot of Eidolons here. Together with FY, they're going to try and go into Roger, who's been rather disruptive for this lane, and he's been pulling it back to the favor of that Ursa. Doesn't look like he should die here, but he's going to be forced away. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they do manage to get on top of this Drow Ranger. They have Solo with the double disables, and Pasha's just going to try and run him down as best as possible.
Yeah,
I don't
love
like
that
they couldn't dive.
I don't love that they just ditched him there. I don't think Dro can play against Brewmaster Lion.
No, that doesn't sound like a good lane.
Mid lane, he tries to dodge the Remnant.
Missed it though, and took a lot of damage as a result.
Yeah, still a Storm-favored matchup, especially with the Drow Aura. Not nearly as bad in the early game anyways, when it used to be about the attack damage that you get.
Yeah.
The attack speed, you see it much better later on.
Solo trying to secure runes for this Storm Spirit, or for the Ember Spirit rather.
I love that PSG.LGD, the biggest takeaway was from this TI was just spam more voice lines than you previously did. That's what OG, that's the second meta that they set.
I mean, that's 2 different ways Zombies being a lot more aggressive. Both when it comes to taking towers and when it comes to spamming those voice lines.
They probably practiced it. Like, Ame just did that while he was harassing. As they're just all chatting him away, try to break the focus of VP, who is down in this crucial best of 3 in the lower bracket.
And VP has said multiple times, like, they do not actually want to slow down that much, even though they've secured their ticket to TI.
Of course not. I don't buy into the narrative that they don't care about this tournament. All the best teams are left. Yeah. This is your one of your last chances to be able to say, like, we're the best team in the world. I think it's the next one that you chill on.
Yeah.
But on this one, there's still enough time between TI to establish your form, kind of go with the ideas that you have about Dota, figure out some heroes that you might think are on the up and up.
Bounty runes. Pasha manages to get both.
And it looks like he's going for the creep wave. No. In fact, just going to TP out.
Yeah, there's decent amount of CS there that he was missing out on, so he wants to get back in the lane as quick as possible. Chalice has been doing relatively well for himself here, as kind of expected, but they're going to try and go into him now, and he's already built up a lot of Fury Swipes with the double disables. He doesn't get the chance to pop the Ghost Shroud.
This has been talked about ad nauseum, by the way, in other casts, but Solo is not your typical 5-position player. He's not sitting bottom, stacking and pulling waves, sitting there being passive. He's made the 2 big kills in this game happen on both cores.
Oh, they're going to go again. He just TP'd in. He cannot afford another death here, but it's going to be hard as they are able to dive the tower pretty quickly here. They're just going to keep going for Chalice, who's already built up so much to every single swing is doing tons and tons. Chalice is going to go down here. Ramsey's quite low, but they do manage to get more stuns onto X-Nova. Now he's just stuck in this tower area. Nobody, and this is the problem, the greed of the LGD lineup. You do not feel comfortable moving heroes out of these lanes.
Yes, and VP are doing exactly what they need to. Be aggressive at all times. PSG.LGD's lineup, their rotations just aren't going to be as strong as yours with the types of heroes that they have. You have to stay aggressive at all times, carry this into the mid game, and just bludgeon them with being ahead in net worth. If you are going to win this game as VP, this is the start that you needed.
The Necrophos now with a Walk of Shame back to the lane.
The downside, though, is that the laning phase is still very good for the other 2 cores.
Yes.
Like, the Storm Spirit has had completely unchallenged farm, 45 CS at 6-7 minutes. That's absurd. The Dro in a similar situation, since this is the downside of Solo not being your traditional 5-position, is that he's not going to just sit there and want to harass somebody out of a lane.
Yeah.
He wants to fight. This guy wants to establish his early presence. He wants to be felt.
Chalice trying to take some of these Eidolons, but thanks to the Helmet Dominator, they can get some harassment damage on him. Trying to ruin his game as much as possible. 4-0 lead for VP, but not much of a net worth lead. As you said, the other 2 lanes are going quite well for LGD. Drow Ranger and Storm Spirit pretty much free farming at this point. VP just trying to pick up the pace when it comes to taking lanes. They are going to have Lion rotate into mid, just do a little bit of harassment damage, but not much of it. It's going to come of it at this point. Trying to go on to Pasha here before he can actually get his Primal Split level 6. He's a ways away. They won't be able to kill him, but they do bring him pretty low. Chalice is done with that top lane. It seems they're going to give up on that safe lane tower.
Aced. This is a big rune, and I'd like to see them connect to somewhere else. Don't stop the aggression. We saw once he got the Helm of Dom on the Enigma, he takes that top tower. You want to just get everything you can out of the map. Going towards this bottom lane, I think, would be a huge win for them if they could kill Chalice again. This would completely slow down his game because heroes that don't have natural built-in teamfight abilities, they never like dying this many times in a row. Because they need the net worth advantage to really get their presence felt on the map, as they're going to run into the Nyx first. No one, though. He's on the chase.
Ignoring the Nyx assassin, going straight for the Necrophos, who's going to pop the Ghost Shroud, and they might be able to bring Solo a little bit low, but they're just going to be kited now by the Malefice, and there is going to be your core dead. They're going to turn back to FY and go for him now. He does have the Spike Carapace to buy him just the smallest bit of space, but doesn't hit the double impale, as no one using his haste ring to try and get in front of FY as much as possible. He doesn't have a disable. FY waving to him here. Solo is actually trying to, from the low ground, get some sort of disable out, but he's a bit too far away. No one forced to retreat as the Storm Spirit shows up. That right there is a big advantage of being the aggressors, right? They take that safe lane tower and are still able to defend their own with that really cool smoke move.
Yeah, I'd really like them, by the way, to be able to take mid next on VP before PSG.LGD can take that bottom tower. That'd be where you can kind of hem the map in and make it really hard for the Dro the Storm and the Necrophos to just go for the jungle. And what that means is one of these cores has to commit to being in the lane, and that will open up the opportunities for you to get kills on the map.
Right.
It's by forcing two people to go to the jungle. Somebody feels like they have to open up the map somehow. And that's why Chalice continues to go to this bottom lane, and he continues to go to the lanes, because he already has 2 cores that want to farm out the jungle. This is the weakness of PSG.LGD's lineup, in that it is very greedy.
Level 6 for the Brewmaster. PSG.LGD are not able to fight here, so it looks like they're going to have to give away 3 bounty runes unless, no, FY wasn't able to get it. Now for the low ground. This is the play that Solo was looking for earlier. Does manage to get the Impale on the Nyx Assassin, the Hex on Chalice, who's still not level 6. They're going to pop the Primal Split here. Nice Centaur stun. They get the follow-up. No one from LGD is showing up here anymore. They know this is not a fight they can take. They know this is a tower they can't defend.
Yeah, and if you notice, during this entire time, Ame is just farming the jungle. Like, this is what we mean about the difficulties of once you lose this top tower, once you get aggressive on the map, you can just sort of push the pace and make it very hard for them to keep up.
Yeah. Yeah, you could see he was farming the offlane jungle quite a bit, trying to do those Ancients. The Storm was farming up the jungle as well. Ame, as he sees all those heroes bottom, shows up in lane at top. The Storm Spirit was also pushing in mid during that time. Once they reveal, like once VP make their big move, that's when these other 2 cores can try and push out the other lanes.
Yeah, and it's still the top 2 cores in the game on PSG.LGD because they farm neutral so fast, and we see a commitment from no one just going around the map, setting up for kills, setting up for tower pressures. So you have to continue to play at this pace, because the worst thing in the world for VP is to get into a farming war with this lineup. To slow down the pace intentionally, you don't really need items with the type of lineup that you have.
This is going to help a lot. Now that FY is level 6, being able to go invis and just see these rotations come across, right? LGD wants to be able to dodge a lot of these early fights. And they're actually maybe giving up a tower here as Roger's going to try and make his way over here. Kills the Siege Wagon, gets the deny. Very well played by Roger. But I feel like that was simultaneously an unnecessary loss for VP.
Yeah, that was a tower that was at full HP, and they committed a lot to defending that. I know a lot of people think to themselves, like, what's the big deal? Like, it's just a bottom tier 1, but if you notice, like, when they actually made the kill happen towards bottom lane, they weren't able to take the tower themselves.
Yeah.
And so it feels like those kills end up not really changing the course of the game. And that's what matters in Dota, is these one-off kills, even though you're up 7K, you see the lead's only 1K. That's the beauty of Dota, is that the objectives will always just matter more.
The Ursa going for a hand of minus here. It's a little bit surprising. Maybe that means because he's going to be spending so much time running around going for kills, that he wants something that can help him farm as well.
1 second faster than this patch's average.
They are going to be able to find top lane. Finger of Death laid out, helping to get the kill. A big one at that on maybe Storm Spirit. Now with maybe Storm Spirit down, as you said it, they're going to push mid.
I'd like everybody to come here right now.
Yeah, Pasha's going to make sure to TP in right now. He has Primal Split. This completely dissuades LGD from taking a fight, but they may still go for it if they see the right kind of opening, but that's not the opening they wanted. Great silence push back there, and that'll help save FY's life, but a good slight change into the Centaur stun as well. Chalice is trying to keep these heroes alive and trying to frontline, but they just run right past him, and as LGD is pushed back, they turn back into Chalice and quickly kill.
Storm's coming with the DD.
Now the Black Hole going out for the TP in. They catch him as he TPs out. They're going to be able to get one stem. Now the chains, and he's dead. He just died at top, comes back in, dies again. A blistering pace being picked up by Virtus.pro as LGD.
Oh, this is beautiful. I love when they do this move. They do this in every game. If they take your mid tier 1 tower and your top tier 1 and they have a way to Roche, they'll always do it. They've done this with Juggernaut, they've done this with Ursa every single time they have this hero. This is how you set a tempo. But they're going to want to fight this on PSG.LGD.
I'm not sure if they can get there in time. They have the scan, but no one is really close. There is just the Nyx Assassin who was in the neighborhood. That is an Aegis, and he just picked up Hand of Midas, and he's going to be able to pick up his Blink Dagger in just a minute. So this is, like, his Hand of Midas is not going to slow down his timing really at all.
This is so well done by PSG.LGD. As we watch the replay again, it's Roger's positioning too, and his micro on his creep blew this fight open. You see right here, the Centaur Stomp makes it so awkward. They're all gathered up. No one's positioning over the top.
And I love how they like push him back and then just go right back into Chalice, just
And look
surrounding
at this.
him.
Just the immediate black hole pop. Storm has no chance to cancel, and he had a DD rune. That's the reason why he TP'd in the first place. Maybe most likely told his team, "I've got DD rune. I'm gonna just destroy this fight."
Yeah. Soon a Maelstrom for no one, so his farm is really going to start picking up, and you can see those cores on the VP side are beginning to eclipse LGD as they're now 4,000 net worth ahead. Drow Ranger is still ahead of everybody just because of the speed at which he can farm up that jungle. And oh, look at that, another hand of Midas actually. Pasha is going to go back for it, so even though their lineup is meant to be aggressive, they're supposed to take the early tempo, they're still trying to secure some of their later game with these early hand of Midas pickups.
Yeah, and it's just the experience that they need because they know that it's most likely just Ame farming nonstop.
Yeah.
And you don't want your course to get behind against Zero because I think the best thing that she does is she has the ability to 1v5 later on with very minimal items.
Trying to go for the Hurricane Pike against some of these melee cores like the Ursa. I mean, that's going to be a lot of Ramsey's job is just being able to blinky, get on top of the Drow Ranger. They take the tier 1 bottom and keep pushing. They're the ones with the Aegis right now. They're going to dare LGD to try and stop them. LGD wise enough to know this is not a fight they want to take. They just spread up all around the map, just trying to split push as much as possible. Won't really be able to take any of the objectives. And look at this, VP is going to dare LGD once more. You must fight us at some point. We're going to go for the high ground. We're going to force all of you back. We'll see what happens from there.
I think they're just trying to bring them back to the base.
Yeah.
I'd be somewhat surprised if they actually decided to all-in commit this early on.
It would take, I think, a pretty big mispositioning blunder from LGD.
X-Nova, he's found somebody.
Oh, what is this positioning from X-Nova? Sneaking around in the back line, trying to catch somebody as they retreat, but VP is not that too far away. They're going to make the long jump in from Maybe, trying to go on the Bane, actually does side of the finger death, but now that means Solo's going to be caught up as Maybe runs him down too. Double kill, out of mana though. A great little pickup by LGD. They were forced to TP back to their base, yes, but it all comes worth it if you can get the kills like that.
I think part of that too is that the Ursa showed for a brief second when he went towards that top lane and disengaged, and that was PSG.LGD's chance to say, let's run at them, take advantage of this. VP did something very similar in last game. Whenever anybody shows and you're ready for the 5-on-5 and they're not, the numbers advantage is what will negate your net worth disadvantage.
Yeah.
Because with the Ursa out of the fight, that's 8K that VP just loses, plus his abilities.
Yeah, and his Aegis. Arcane Boots and straight mech for Chalice.
Oh, look at this, the instant D-ward.
No.
Never feels good.
That definitely does not feel good for LGD because they're already being hemmed in. They're having to sit behind their tier 2s right now. Now an aggressive move, going straight for Chalice, trying to blow him up. FY trying to intercept with his spike. Carapace does manage to stall up the Ember Spear's damage, but the Ghost Shroud's gonna fade eventually and Chalice is gonna be found here. Diving in, FY, they're gonna go for him next. Should be able to just chain disable him. 2 kills for Virtus.pro as they surround this mid-tier 2 tower. One of the last remaining towers for LGD.
Pasha's ult just makes this so hard for them to fight right now. And he's playing these fights so perfectly.
Look at Solo in his positioning. Maybe he's going to be able to come in here, taking away the Aegis of the Ursa.
Roger wants the ulti.
LGD, they result back to the high ground. Roger's trying to go back and forth here, but he's just being kited by the Frost Arrows. And now Ame, with that Hurricane Pike, will be able to get away from the Ursa. They're going to wait out the end in range, the Nightmare. It'll fade eventually, and they're just going to continue to get those Frost Arrows. Oh, the Chalice Reaper's Sight! Not going to be good enough to kill Pasha yet, but the Impale should be enough to finish him off, and the Ursa dies as well. A huge fight for LGD as VP and all their aggression got them ahead in this game. But now it cost them control. And it's a dead even game once again.
Because of the Ursa's Aegis, they just go for the dive thinking, well, there's no way we can lose the fight. But the game is early on enough where everyone just respawns really quickly. And now you don't have Pasha's ulti. And despite winning this game for 18 minutes, I think with this tower, they're actually going to be behind in net worth, actually just about ahead. Yeah. Which is insane to think about, because a second ago, PSG.LGD only had 1 kill on the map.
Nightmare. Fiend's Grip up. Nobody's nearby. This is a guaranteed kill on an Ember Spear. PSG.LGD is now ahead and is now definitely winning this game. What a swift turnaround One blunder by VP is all it takes.
They needed to stomp this early in mid-game, and they were until that one error. And it's because their lineup can't continue to chase.
Yeah.
Nobody can follow the Ursa in like that. You saw Ame's positioning. He's hanging out by a tier 3 tower with a Hurricane Pike. There's no hero that can get on top of him on the side of VP, aside from the Ember Spirit. But he doesn't have the defensive item to feel comfortable enough to commit all 3 remnants because she'll just Hurricane Pike and reset that fight.
And the fact that they hadn't finished off the tier 2 means that Chalice was able to TP in and basically sandwich VP. A good gust from the Drow Ranger will allow LGD to get back.
FY should know about that sentry.
Yeah, he died to that sentry, or lost his ward to the sentry earlier.
Never refuse gold given.
Young JJ, pull up the graph. Let's see it. For the most of the game, aside from like that one brief moment at the 5-minute mark.
And a Midas. I mean, Pasha has been building that one for a while and only just now picks it up. Yeah, 4.5 minutes lower than average.
All they had to do, I think, in that position was hit the tier 2.
Yes.
There was no way that PSG.LGD wanted to fight head-on. Ame was hanging out by a tier 3. That's how you knew he wasn't going to risk anything. But the fight came to him perfectly. He got a 3-man silence off. Pasha doesn't have ulti, so he has no way to gap close. That's the big part about this Brew ulti, is in the mid-game it makes you feel invincible. Because you know that your Brew can just walk in for free behind enemy lines, and there's no opportunity cost to that.
And now we're going to have just a big difference in items from last fight to the next one. Guardian Greaves almost complete. For Chalice, we're going to have the Bloodstone for the Storm Spirit as well. I'm not sure what Ame has, because he had the Hurricane Pike earlier, so I'm sure he's moving on to the next item.
VP have to go for a smoke again around all their ulti timings. It looks like they're waiting for the BKB on Ramses, but I feel like this slows down your game a lot. Now that you have to wait another 1,000 gold, you don't want to have to be dependent on these items to take fights, but I think unfortunately because of the last situation, you sort of have to. And that's why we favored LGD's lineup, because you can't expect VP to play perfect Dota and run that aggression nonstop.
Good gank on the Helmet Dominator creep. Netting maybe an extra 200 gold.
They still can definitely win, though.
They're going to be able to find X-Nova.
They have very good teamfight ultis
to
be able to come back into this game. They have good control for the Storm in solo. So it's not like the game is over. It's just unfortunate as to where it's gone now.
FY just fearless. He just keeps on running through that sentry over and over and over again. And VP keep on running towards him, but... And he's always out of range. Oh, missed the spike carapace. Is still going to get some damage onto Pasha and burn him out of mana, I guess.
He's just poking around.
Yeah.
He did force everybody to come to...
It worked.
To Pasha, because I think they assumed the only reason you would do that is if there was like a storm zipping through and a Necro about to come over the top with an ulti.
Yeah. Pretty smart. Lotus Orb next for the Necrophos.
As a butterfly is almost now completed on Ame. This is going to counter the heavy physical damage lineup that VP have.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
This really hurts the Ursa.
Yeah. I mean, he's already has a bit of trouble because we don't have this like blink, you know, Abyssal Blade sort of build where you just get on top of him and bash him to death. It's already a struggle to be able to get close to that Drow Ranger. The Hurricane Pike. Now, even if you do, it's going to be a lot of that evasion coming into play. Look at FY. It's just he knows his job really well. As soon as he got his level 6, he starts positioning himself super aggressively and giving his team just the knowledge of where VP is and the ability to break those smokes.
Yeah, I know a lot of fans hate when their teams pick like Nyx first 2, but this is part of the reason why you do so. It's because you can put so much pressure on the enemy team. In professional Dota, breaking smokes is such a big deal, but they might actually
close
just get a kill here.
Chalice is going to be in trouble here. Chain disables, Finger of Death goes out, but he has the Guardian Greaves to be able to help him out a lot. The BKB activated by Ramses, though, and this is sure to make sure this fight is definitely going to go the way to VP as they run down one core, going to be able to catch FY. They can run back over to the Bane, who was, they're going to go in for the Evan Spirit. He got found out. He gets isolated from his team.
You need to get out on VP.
They're going to try and come back in. Now Chalice did TP in with double buybacks here. Virtus.pro, a mass retreat. Ramses, oh! What a TP away from him. A close call, but does get out.
And not the worst situation at all for VP because 2 buybacks were expended. As FY still on the hunt. He's going to run into solo here. Is there a follow-up?
There is going to be a jump from the Storm Spirit to ensure the kill.
Maybe they go Roche now.
Yeah, possibly.
I think if you don't kill the Lion,
Jesus.
you might not go for the Roche, but look how quick this is.
It is dying so fast. Aegis, Cheese, what a big difference this next fight is going to be now. Is that Necrophos is going to be, or excuse me, the Storm Spirit. You can't really burst him down. He's got Bloodstone Cheese. Aegis on the Drow. LGD, finally they can play a lot more aggressively. We've seen them kind of reacting to V